Alright, good evening, stat class. Today what we're going to talk about is the 5-number summary, and from that 5-number summary we're going to learn how to make a box and whiskers plot. Okay, remember, a median. The way you find a median, that's the midpoint. If you take a set of numbers, in this case 1, 3, 4, and 8, 1, 3, 4, 8, and 9, the median number is the middle number. So 1, 1, 1, 1, boom. 4 is your median, or midpoint. If you have an even set of numbers, what you're going to do is you're going to find the middle two numbers. You're going to add them together. Such here, 4 and 5 equal 9, divided by 2, and 4.5 is your median. All right, keep that in mind. All right, one of the things we're going to do is we're going to talk about quartiles. Quartiles is a natural way to measure spread. All right. Step 1, you need to order your data from least to greatest and find the median. For instance, I want you to take these numbers, 0, 7, 1, 29, 25, 8, 5, 1, 25, 98, 9, 0, 26, so on and so forth, all these numbers to 42, and I want you to put them in order from least to greatest. All right, there happens to be 25 values. Then, what you're going to do is you're going to take your numbers, and notice, since there's 25, I counted the first 12 here, the second 12 here. The middle number, or the median, happens to be 9. It is the 13th number in the set of 25. So just remember this. This is my median. I'm going to label this as M. As M. Now, once you have found your median, you're going to split the rest of the two numbers up. And in this first quartile, what you're going to do is you're going to do the same thing again, and you're going to find the median of these two sections. So if you were to count 0, 0, 0, that's 3 numbers, 8, 8, and 7, 1, 1, 5, 5. Notice you have two numbers, 3 and 3. Well, what you're going to do, the average of 3 and 3 is add those up and you get 6, divide by 2, and again the average is 3, just like I've done right here. All right? So the median for the first set of numbers is actually 3, and we're going to call that Q1. This stands for quartile 1. Now, you're going to take the rest of the 12 numbers, and you're going to do the same thing. Well, once you find the middle two numbers, which is 42 and 44, you add them together, get 86, cut them in half, and you get 43. And we're going to label this as Q3. So quartile 1, quartile 3, and median. All right? Now, there's a thing called the IQR. This is called the interquartile range. And what this does is you take your Q3 and you subtract your Q1. In this case, Q3 is 43, subtract your Q1, which is 3, and you get a range of 40. When you find the quartiles, you never include the median of the entire data. So going back up to here, when we find the Q3 and Q1, you never, ever, ever include the median. Okay? Now, the IQR measures the range of the middle 50% of the data. So remember, the median refers to the center. That is the center. The IQR refers to the spread. This is the spread of the data. So the interquartile range represents the spread of the data. Okay? Now, once you have your IQR and your Q1, Q3, and median, you're going to conduct what we call a 5-number summary. The 5-number summary is what includes the minimum number, your Q1, your median or midpoint number, which is your center, your Q3, and your maximum number. Remember, your IQR, your interquartile range, is Q3 minus Q1, and that is your spread. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to take the minimum number. So for the data we just dealt with, 0 was my minimum number, 3 was my Q1, 9 was my median, 43 was my Q3, and maximum was my is 118. All right, and what you're going to do is you're going to create what we call a box and whisker, which includes this. You create you look at your data, and this is from 0 to 118. Well, if we take it out to 120 or even 130, we can create a number line with increments of 10. Okay? So what I've done is I've created this number line. I went by increments of 10. They're not exact right now, but it's a pretty good sketch. It's not too bad. But what you're going to do is you're going to label where your minimum is, your Q1, which is 3. You're going to put a dot where your median is, or your midpoint. You're going to put a dot where your Q3 is, according to the number line, and a dot where your maximum is. And what you do is you just create a bar here. You connect. That's your whisker. That's a whisker, and this is a whisker, and this is the box. You draw a small box that connects the Q1 and the median, and then the median to the Q3. These go out to the maximum and to the minimum. And from here, what you can see is that your data is heavily skewed to the right based on this box. So it's heavily skewed to the right. Now, the other thing we're going to do is once we have done this, we're going to identify any outliers. Okay? And the way we do that is, remember, to identify an outlier, in this case, any observation that is 1.5 times the IQR above the Q3 or below the Q1 is considered an outlier. What that means is, remember, our IQR, our spread, was Q3 minus Q1. And in this case, it is 43 minus 3, which is an IQR or a spread of 40. You're then going to take your Q3, which is 43, and you're going to add 1.5 times the IQR. Well, in this case, 43 plus 1.5 of 40. Now, 1.5 times the 40 is 60. 60 plus 43 is 103. So any number in your data that lies above 103 is considered an outlier. Well, notice 118 is above 103. And in fact, I think we had a couple of them that were above 103. All right, so if you go back to your data, if you notice, here's my data. Well, actually, this was the only, if you look at here, 118 was the only one that lied, that was above 103. So this is our only outlier. This is our only outlier. Okay? Now, how do we figure out the other one? Well, if you use your Q1 and you subtract 1.5 times the IQR, you will get 3 minus 1.5 times 40, which is again 60. So 3 minus 60 is equal to negative 57. And any number in your data that is below negative 57 is considered an outlier. Be sure you know this for tomorrow's lesson.